Personal MBA Coach helped me not only tell my story, but to tell it effectively. One of the discussions we had pretty early on was what I wanted to do. And we sort of worked backwards from, hey, okay, so this is where you want to be in 20 years. What do you need to do to get to where you want to get to in 10 years and 5? And eventually we kind of settled on a couple of schools. I initially had about 14 schools in my first list. We managed to whittle that down to 5 schools. That sort of matched what I was looking for in the short, medium, and the long term too.
I think it kind of helped design my strategy with me because I really didn't have one before. I really liked how methodical it was, right from choosing what kind of schools I want to apply to, then what those dates are, and just like a little bit of the tactical, how we want to spread them out, then making sure that I'm putting enough attention and consistency on each of those elements, so be it the essays, be it coordinating with my recommenders so that we're telling a consistent story which is actually authentic to what my experience was.
We had a different approach for each school, and each of those approaches were really tailored to the certain things that each school and each admissions office at each school was going to look for. Knowing that certain schools liked to hear you talk about yourself a lot, whereas other schools just wanted to hear you talk about your goals, really helped drive my application process and my essay writing in a way that got me the best essays I could write for each of those schools.
It really helped me prioritize more of what are the things that I should be working on, where should I be channeling my answers, and it was really helpful to be able to be a little bit more targeted.
I think it's important to have someone like help you figure out, based on your background and what certain schools are specifically looking for from candidates, and then how do you match that and how do you make kind of a reasonable argument.
Another very, very good aspect is the software that he uses for all the edits that makes the process much, much more smoother and holistic.
To be my authentic self, I think that was definitely a big one. Sometimes as you edit the essays and try and really bring out a story, sometimes you lose yourself within that story. And so, Personal MBA Coach constantly reminded me to be my authentic self.
I think the best advice I got was I was working on my Harvard application, which is where I ended up going. It was a few feedback, very specific feedback, and then I got a very okay, this is not cutting it, we're not being compelling enough, and we need to really raise the bar of the standard of what we're writing and how we want to present the story. It made me take a step back, actually view things from a different perspective, and I really appreciated that kind of harsh criticism so that I can set my expectations right and be able to draft something that is a lot more compelling.
It's important that you reflect internally and think a lot about what your goals are and what your story is going to be.
Personal MBA Coach knew exactly what each school was looking for, so helping me understand how should I be positioning myself and putting kind of the best face forward for what that school specifically was looking for to give me the best kind of chance.
I think it's probably the short-term and long-term goal. And to be honest, I think, a lot of people are going to MBA, with an open mind, right? So I think it's important to have someone help you figure out, based on your background and what certain schools are specifically looking for from candidates. And then how do you match that and how do you make kind of a reasonable argument?
Best piece of advice would be just be yourself. At no point of the time in your application should you lie or should you try to oversell yourself. With his so many years of experience under his belt, I had to trust him and go by his gut instinct. The feedback I got from him was very, very honest.
I think it's just the relationship that you develop during the process and afterwards. I'll be pretty honest. At the beginning, it was a love-hate relationship because, Personal MBA Coach frequently was very honest, very straightforward. And if stuff didn't sound right, even though I really liked it, they'd, highlight it to me and absolutely give me the option to change it or keep it. But, we had some really candid conversations around, hey, is this the right reason why you're putting this or why you're applying to this school? Is this really what you want? And they sort of really just helped me introspect.
It was a very healthy mix of realism mixed with ambition. I wanted that reality check, but then I also wanted someone who could actually believe in me and take me forward.
The obvious value that he provides in terms of helping people navigate the entire process, regardless of your level of skill or competency in the admissions process or where you are in your career.
For me, the best part of working with Personal MBA Coach was taking those really big life questions and breaking them down into very manageable, smaller questions. So it really made the process much more clear and much more simple.
Getting that kind of really dedicated, day and night and on the weekend as well, that kind of attention, I think that was extremely important.
People describe the whole application process as very arduous and very tasking. He made it so simple for me.
I absolutely love the service. I love the team, very responsive. And in fact, I love the team so much, I then went on to introduce them to a ton of other people who have similar backgrounds to mine, and even some who don't, who just want, really good quality service.
I really liked how direct and supportive the work collaboration was. I also was initially a little concerned because I was based out of India when I was applying. So I was a little concerned how the time difference would work, but the responsiveness was always incredible. I was really pleased with how smooth it went.
His background as an alumni of schools that resonated with me, I think, made it easier for him to understand what my background and my goals were like in a way that would be most effective.
The reason that I decided to choose Personal MBA Coach was because it felt like I was working with a real person rather than working with kind of part of a large faceless machine.
Having someone, again, by your side and, your advisor, as a person, personally, and then, knowing that he will help you out is really important.
He deals with every applicant, every candidate one-on-one. It's not commercialized, it's very personal.